Have you ever been scrolling your feed, seen a wild food trend, and wondered, does any of this actually matter? Well, today we're going to connect the dots, all the way from a viral kitchen hack to a global agricultural revolution. It's a surprising journey that shows how what's on your screen is deeply connected to the future of what's on your plate.
It all kind of starts with this moment. You're watching a professional chef try a viral trend, and he ends up with a coat hanger strapped to his head, dangling noodles into a pot. And he just looks at the camera and says, "This is our job." It's hilarious, it's absurd, and, it perfectly captures the wild, wonderful, and sometimes totally ridiculous world of online food. But the big question is, what do these moments really mean?
So let's start right there, with all those micro trends that are just flooding our feeds every single day. We've all seen them, right? These weird and wonderful kitchen experiments that get millions and millions of views. But the real question, the one we all want to know, is, do any of them actually work? Okay, so what's actually worth your time? The team at Sorted Food decided to put a few to the test. And the verdict? Well, some, like the clotted cream potatoes or that coffee trick where you make it rain sugar, they're a hard scroll past. They just don't work. The coat hanger noodles? A total failure, obviously, but a definite follow just for the pure joy of watching it. But then you get something like the jeweled butter terrine, and that's a huge follow. It's easy, it looks amazing, and it's genuinely delicious. It's the perfect example of a trend that actually delivers. But here's the thing, while a really fancy butter recipe is fun, these viral moments, they're just the very, very tip of the iceberg. To get the real story, we've got to look beyond our screens, because there's a much bigger shift happening. And this brings us to the most important question of all. Are these fleeting, flashy bits of kitchen creativity the trends that are actually going to shape our future? Or are they maybe just fun distractions from the massive, kind of invisible forces that are really at play? And this is where we zoom out, way out. Forget the TikToks for a second, because there are these huge macro trends that are quietly revolutionizing our entire food system, from the dirt in the ground all the way to the shelf in your supermarket. So one of the biggest shifts happening is this idea of waste valorization. I know, it sounds super corporate, but the idea behind it is actually incredible. It's all about turning the stuff we'd normally just throw away into valuable new things. So think about a chocolate company using the shells of its cocoa beans to make new packaging, or a farm turning its animal waste back into rich fertilizer. It's smart, right? And if you want to know how big this opportunity is, get a load of this number. The World Health Organization says that right now, only 1%, just one, of food waste is recycled back into food for us to eat. Just imagine the potential here. If we could close that loop, the impact would be absolutely staggering. Now here's another big term you're gonna be hearing a lot more about: regenerative agriculture. See, for years the buzzword was sustainability, which is basically just trying not to make things any worse. Think of it like treading water. Well, regeneration is the next big step. It's not just about doing less harm, it's about actively making the land and our soil healthier. It's about putting more back in than you take out. And you might be thinking this is some small fringe movement, but nope, not at all. This is being pushed by the biggest players in the game. You've got global corporations like Nestle and PepsiCo who see it as just smart long-term risk management. You have governments jumping on board to support them, and farmers, they're adopting it because it's just plain good business. It's less resource intensive, which means more profit. Okay, so we've been talking about these massive global ideas, but how does this actually show up in our own lives? Well, let's zoom back in and see how our personal relationship with food is changing and how our plate is kind of turning into our own personal pharmacy. But first, we have to talk about a huge challenge. We know more about nutrition than we ever have before, right? But one report found that the poorest fifth of the UK would have to spend 45% of their disposable income just to eat a healthy diet. Think about that for a second. Almost half their money. So the knowledge is there, but for way too many people, a truly healthy diet is still out of reach. And that leads to this phrase I saw in a report that just hit the nail on the head: eating my emotions. I mean, who can't relate to that? Life is more stressful than ever, and people are looking for food to do more than just fill a hole. We want food that helps us manage our stress, our anxiety, our whole mood. And this is where things get really specific. We're now seeing actual ingredients being studied and added to products for targeted mental wellness benefits. You're seeing things like GABA for stress relief, polyphenols from cocoa for brain health, and adaptogens like ashwagandha in all kinds of popular drinks to help with sleep. The whole idea of food as medicine is getting really, really precise. So this leaves us in this kind of fascinating paradox. The future of nutrition is looking in two directions at the exact same time. On one hand, we're looking back, rediscovering this ancient wisdom that has always known that healthy soil leads to healthy food, which leads to healthy people. But on the other hand, we're leaping forward into this sci-fi world of emotional AI, software that could one day analyze your facial expressions to predict what you need. It's a little creepy, but you have to admit, it's also pretty wild. Okay. We've gone from TikTok noodles to artificial intelligence. Let's bring this all home and connect all the dots, from your screen to the soil, and really see how your everyday choices fit into this massive, changing world. So here's how it all connects, the full story. It starts with something so simple, a tap on your phone. You see that jeweled butter terrine, and it goes viral. Suddenly, way more people are buying radishes. But, and here's the key, the quality of that radish, how crunchy and nutritious it is, depends directly on the health of the soil it grew in. That's your regenerative agriculture. Then, the nutrients in that radish contribute to your well-being. That's your food as medicine. And your purchase, that simple choice in a supermarket, sends a tiny signal all the way up a global supply chain. See, it's all connected. And that leaves us with one final thought. The next time you try a recipe you found online, or even just sit down for dinner, ask yourself, what trend am I really a part of? Is it just a fun, fleeting viral moment? Or are you, with every single bite, taking part in a quiet revolution that is reshaping our food, our health, and our entire planet?